Welcome, guys, back to the I Love Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, as always, Justin Woolwine, and today we are welcome with TNA's own AJ Francis. How we doing, man?
I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed.
I love that.
I
I love hearing that.
appreciate you.
Every day on Earth is a blessed day.
That's a
Um,
fact.
Before just to dive right in. We are the I Love Wrestling podcast. So, what does AJ Francis love about pro wrestling?
That's changed over the years. When I was a fan and just a fan, I love the fact that you could tell a million stories um, with the same cast of characters. Um, and I loved going to the big events and hanging out with like-minded wrestling fans and meeting new people and fans and friends and all these different things. Um, And then now that I'm a wrestler, it's the rush of a 2.9 kick out.
Okay.
It's telling the story to get the people there to where when you do kick out at 2.9, the crowd loses their mind. Like the match I had with Mike Santana, when I kicked out of his frog splash, man, it was magnetic. And then every moment after that just got bigger and bigger and bigger all the way till the finish. So telling those stories is definitely the cool thing. Being part of those stories now, I think, is the best thing for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just got out of an insane ladder match at Slammiversary. How are you
hmm
feeling?
I feel great.
Yeah?
I feel I feel great. It's my former tag team partner, that washed up bum Casey Navarro, that you need to be worried about. His
Okay.
bones are brittle. He's frail, so he came out of that match injured, and had to get rid of him and bring back the original first class member, Rich Swann. So.
Okay. Since you brought up that, what's next for first class now that KC's out and Rich Swan is back?
We're Rich said it in our promo, is the main objective is continuing the rise of turning the show into TNA Francis. And that happens by us getting championship gold. And by us, I mean more, because we've done the tag team thing for a while. And while it would be cool to be tag team champions, uh, I'm looking for singles gold. I'm looking for an opportunity because I've proven time and time again that I'm a single star. I'm the best heel on the show by far. People don't hate Rich Swann. People didn't hate Casey Navarro. They just hate me. And those people happen to be standing next to me. So I'm down to prove that I'm the best heel on the roster.
I love it. I've had the pleasure of talking and working with Rich Swan here on the podcast. Actually, what's it been like for you to be able to have somebody like Rich at your disposal to learn from and to grow with?
What's great is that Rich gives me a level of confidence because Rich is a former TNA world champion, and Rich will be the first person to let you know that I should be TNA world champion. Rich is the first person to let you know that I am a different level performer than 99.9% of people in this business. And that, people are late on realizing how great I am. Rich recognized it very early on. That's why he joined first class. Um, and that's why he stood on the table and told me to stood on the table and told Creative that I should be the digital media champion when they were going to give the title to him. Right.
Okay.
So to get to that point, it's crazy. It's crazy where we are now, almost a year and a half later, and he's finally back.
Okay. What was the like original idea for first class, and how have you felt the group has evolved since its birth?
First class is literally just me with a partner. I've started first class. I didn't like really ask for Rich. They just said we're going to put Rich with you, and then I came up with the idea of first class because me and Rich legitimately met for the first time on an airplane, and we were sitting next to each other, and we were literally sitting in the back row of the plane, the last row on the plane. He was in the middle seat, and I was in the window seat, and I he was, and so that's why in our original, if you go all the way back to when we first formed First Class, when I was feuding with Joe Hendry, I literally say in the promo, and it's 100% true. I said, "Rich, where do we meet?" He was like, "In the back of the plane." I said, "Yep, in the back of the plane." And today, 5 years later, where do you fly? And he was like, "The back of the plane." I was like, "Yep, you're still in the back of the plane." And yet 5 years later, I only fly first row, first class. And that's literally how we came up with the idea for first class. So it's crazy because it's based on a true story. And that's why I think it works so well. And then obviously Rich had his issues. Um, and he was suspended, and they brought in KC as his replacement. And I had never worked with KC before then. And me and KC were able to mesh really well because anytime you have a big guy and a little guy in a crew, we're never going to step on each other's toes. What he would do in a match, I wouldn't do, and what I would do in a match, he wouldn't do. And
Exactly.
we have very defined roles. Like I'm not going to take the heat because it wouldn't make sense for me to take the heat and then tag in him. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and if we're baby faces, and then when we're heels, like he's going to take the shine because I'm going to be putting the heat on. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's defined roles when you have a big guy, little guy tag team. And it makes it easy to mesh because we're not stepping on each other's toes, and then we're always on the same page. And then we throw in, cool tag team moves that only big man, little man can do. And then now it's like, oh, okay, wow, these are a great team.
Why was I mean, as we're recording this, last night was the breakup of yourself and KC.
Mm-hmm.
Why was it time to move on from KC?
Because Casey got hurt, man. Next man up. I can't drag around 165 pounds of dead weight. Like
Okay.
he tore his ACL. He was a soldier. He went through Slammiversary, ACL torn. And he was a soldier, thugged it out for that match, and he couldn't go. He couldn't go anymore. And I don't have time to wait for KC, man. This plane don't wait on nobody. When that door closes, we taking off. So he got hurt. He needed to take time off. And now when he comes back, everyone's gonna love him. And everybody hates me. And that's the way it should be.
A big as a viewer, a big thing that I've been watching and kind of trying to figure out is Trick Williams a part of First Class, or is he
Yeah,
somebody that we could see added?
it's more of like a conglomeration. First trick is whenever trick's around, we call it first class tricking. Um,
Mhm.
because uh he's an honorary member of first class, but he's
Okay,
also the TNA World Champion and he's on NXT. So he has his own thing going on. So he's an honorary member of first class. So that's why whenever we're around, we call it first class tricking to pay homage to Trick Williams.
got you, got you. Um, you mentioned earlier you're on the path for singles gold.
Mhm.
Is Trick's TNA title in your vision?
Absolutely not. No, Trick is good with me. Trick
Okay,
is everybody else in TNA hates Trick. That's why when Trick did a diss song, he dissed everybody in TNA, but he made sure to say that he liked me and KC. You know,
gotcha.
uh, you know, Trick is good with me. I think Trick is the greatest TNA World Champion of all time. He's the most notable TNA World Champion of all time. Um, he's the most entertaining TNA World Champion of all time. And I look at myself right now as right hand to the king. But when you're right hand to the king, you're real close to the crown. And that's all that matters. So and there was more than one championship gold singles title. We got Leon Slater holding the X Division title and Steve Macklin holding the international title. And if you remember back to WrestleMania week, Steve Macklin pinned me in Unbreakable to become the TNA International title. So there's a story there. There's beef there. There's a background there. So there's a lot of things we could do. Why would I take Trick's belt when we could both have our own?
Okay. Is out of Leon and out of Steve, is there somebody you're leaning more towards to go after championship
Oh,
gold?
Steve beat me for the TNA International title in the inaugural championship match. So yeah, I'm leaning towards Steve. But if Leon needs me to flip him up and throw him back across the pond, I can do that too. That's not a problem. You know, he beat Moose, but I'm about 70 pounds bigger than Moose. So we can really test the limits of the X division.
Got you. I got you. Something that always fascinates me. This next question, if you look at the landscape of the TNA roster, it's stacked.
Hmm.
So if you could pick anybody out of the roster that you haven't tied up with yet in a singles match, to have a singles match with, who would that be?
Moose, for
Moose?
sure. Moose is me and Moose. I think we're the only active guys that in wrestling that actually played in real NFL games, not preseason, not training camp roster spot guys, not rookie mini camp guys, like real NFL players. I think we're the only two in wrestling, me and Moose. So there's that story. There's the fact that he's a three-time TNA world champion. The fact that he's the second biggest man on the TNA roster after me. So, there's a lot of backstory there. And me and Moose faced once before at an independent show in Canada, and it was a great match. And I would love to be able to have a match like that on TV with Moose. I think we would tear the roof off the joint.
Absolutely. You brought up your NFL past. Something I actually had from a fan of the podcast. He wanted to know um, if you could pick an NFL player currently active to come and participate in a match alongside you in TNA, who would that be and why?
Alongside me, like my tag team partner.
Yes, sir.
If he's going to be my tag team partner, I would pick Patrick Mahomes
Ooh,
because everybody hates Patrick Mahomes for some reason. They hate Patrick Mahomes for the same reason they hate me because we're both so great. We're so
okay.
much better than everybody else that tries to do what we do that people just hate us. So I would pick Patrick Mahomes because you're going to get asked somebody that question and they'll say Greg Kittle because he likes wrestling, or they'll say somebody else because their fans like them, like the Josh Allen or somebody like that. No, I want the guy that people hate. That's
I
the
love
guy
it.
I want. I want the one and only Patrick Mahomes to be my tag team partner.
All right. What if you had to go against him?
If I had to face somebody in the NFL, now I got to pick somebody people like. So I would pick Christian McCaffrey. I think me and Christian McCaffrey could have a banger. You know, he's athletic. He's much smaller than me, but he's very athletic and he's very strong. So we could build a great story to him slamming me at the end, like WrestleMania 3. So I think me and Christian McCaffrey could have a banger. But if I'm facing somebody, Christian McCaffrey. If I'm tag team partners, then I want.
I love it. I love it. Um, you know, it's all over the news still because I mean we can't believe we live in a world where TNA and WWE are partners. What was your initial reaction when you heard about this partnership and what it could mean for you guys on the roster?
Well, to be honest with you, when they first announced this partnership, I just figured I'd still never go back to WWE because I just assumed that, I mean, they fired me so twice. So why would I, expect them to want to use me for any
Hmm.
reason? And they didn't for over a year, which is exactly what I expected. So when I got the call finally that they wanted to use me and they wanted to put me with Trick Williams, who was becoming the TNA World Champion as a member of NXT, I was like, what? That was validation to let me know that I'm doing exactly what I should be doing here at TNA and what I could have been doing at WWE all along had I been given the same opportunities.
What's it been like for you to now go to NXT as a part of the TNA roster?
Well, it feels good, man. I mean, to me, it's like I said, it's validation. Like, if you look at first class, it's not really different than Hit Row, except we just don't have a girl. Literally, it's the same thing. At Slammiversary, I came out with a bunch of rappers.
Hmm.
Like, I still rap my own entrance music. I still cut the same style promos. I still wear the same style gear. Like, I had Biggie on my gear at Slammiversary. Like, I have not changed who I am in any way. I'm just, I'm just older version. Like, just a year and a half older than I was when they fired me. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and I could have done all of this in WWE. So that's why to me it's like when I go back and I don't have to change anything, and now I go back and they call me my real name, like That's all the validation I need.
Last question, then I'll let you go. Bound for Glory is right around the corner.
Hmm.
Where does AJ Francis want to be on the card for Bound for Glory?
Bound for Glory, there's three spots I will accept. Okay. I will face Leon Slater for the X Division title. I will face Steve Macklin for the TNA International title. Or I will win the Call Your Shot Gauntlet Battle Royal and thus be able to challenge whoever I want, whenever I want. So those are three very good options. Um, and I'm very much looking forward to proving once again why I'm the best big man in the business, the best heel in the business, with the best chokeslam in the business. I mean, I proved last night again why I'm the best heel in the business. That's real heel work there. People ain't really trying to make people hate them no more. You know, I don't try to make people boo me. I try to make people hate me, and there's a difference.
And you're excellent at it.
Well, I appreciate
Uh,
it, bro.
AJ, I just want to say thank you for joining me on the podcast, and hopefully we can have you on here for another one.
Absolutely, man. Thank you, brother.